Good day everyone, my name is Adriano Dacayo Capus Jr. from BPED 2B, and now I'm going to present my answer for the activity, which is the video discussion. So the number one question is, what are the major components of an open loop system? The major components of open loop system, here are the input, executive, effector, and the output. How does this type of control system differ from the closed loop system? The main difference between open loop and closed loop control system mainly includes its definition, components, construction, reliability, accuracy, stability, optimization, response, calibration, linearity, disturbance of system, and ito yung mga example. So, open loop system, in this system, the controlled action in free from the output. So the closed loop control system, in this system, the output mainly depend on the controlled act of the system. So the isa pang example is the open loop control system. This control system is also called a non-feedback control system, and the closed loop system is this type of control system is called a feedback control system. So, and the basic difference among open loop control system is that in an open loop system, there is no influence of control action on the open loop system. But in a closed loop system, control action has influence, or required output depends on the control action. So, describe how each of the component of the open loop might function for a person who is tossing an empty soft drinks can into a cycling bin. So, rapid movements within tossing an empty soft drinks can into recycle bin use open loop control, as there is no conscious true involved. The motor program for the skills is stored in the long-term memory, and when the stimulus for the performance of the skill term arises, that plan is quickly sent to the muscles through the memory trace. The memory trace is the motor program with the highest status. However, it only forms when a skill has been well learned. And next, how do we know the motor program exists? So, according to the theory of generalized motor program characteristics such as movement time, movement amplitude, and the length of muscle used in producing the action are relatively superficial or surface. Features of fundamental movements patterns. These surface features are also referred to as parameters, meaning that they are the modifiable components of generalized motor program. In the reminders of the section, we illustrate how a performer might select parameter values when using a generalized motor program in a particular situation. So the next is discuss 2 of 3 types of search evidence that suggest support the motor program notion. So, Richard A. C. Smith and Douglas E. Young from 1987. So, a motor program, one of the most important ideas in motor control is that at least some movement are controlled by an open loop process with a centrally stored instruction motor program responsible for the grading, timing, and coordination of of muscular activity necessary for skilled movement behavior. So the motor program idea has had many forms and it's difficult to characterize the various notions under this banner. There are, however, a few features which serve to define the skills. Uh, there are these kinds of ideas responsible well, three lines of evidence support the existence of motor program. So some movements such as those involve the climbing, swinging, and growing, and are controlled wall without feedback, whereas others such fine finger movements show serious disruption. The major point, however, is not how much they are disrupted under this condition, but the movement can occur at all these finding support. So the next is how does each illustrate that individual plan their movements advance. Motor control theories provide a framework to guide the interpretation or how learning or relearning movement occur. Perspectives in motor control are based on the involving models of the nervous system and present the paradigm shift that have taken place throughout history. So historically, when the concept of existing paradigm begin, the limit of way, movement, and behavior are interpreted. How paradigms are developed, although the assumptions associated with varied motor control theories differ. Most current theory have incorporated a system view of the distributed control of the nervous system. A system model suggests that movement results from the interaction of multiple systems working in synchrony to solve a motor program. The advance of the system model is that it on account for flexibility and adaptability of motor behavior in a variety of movement, environmental condition, function goals, as well as environmental and tax constraint play a major role of determining movements. So the next is how do human produce novel movements? So human produce novel movements to produce action that appear complete a novel. So example in golf, professional golfer producing action that completing novel movements because some aspect like speed, angle, and a predictable bounces of movement of the ball and position. And the pushchair basketball player will get a great deal of power, endurance, and of course the balancing. And also the airplane pilot produce a novel movement because some aspect like a wind, the speed, and predictable weather. In shuffleboard, you will alternate turns sliding your packs toward the opposite end of the table. Your goal is the shoot your pack as far down the table as possible without falling off. So the next is, what is the generalized motor program? a generalized motor program, a characteristic such as movement time, movement, aptitude, and the life of muscle in producing movement. A generalized motor program is to develop over practice and provide the basic for generating movement sequence within a class of movement that share the same invariant feature, such as sequence order, relative timing, and relative relative invariant, and features such specific movement are produced by the pre-movement. Specification of movement parameters like absolute timing, absolute force, and effectors. So for example, when a movement situation requires a learned sequence to be produced either faster or slower than typically practice, the invariant feature remain. So, unchanged, but the absolute timing parameter is changed to accommodate the rate at which the movement is produced when learning sequential movement, such as those involved in speed production, handwriting, typing, drumming, or sports skills performance, exhibit the ability to modify a learned movement sequence from execution to execution in some ways, but not in other. This is to occur because a generalized motor program which can be used to produce the specific class of movement has developed and been stored in memory. When the generalized motor program is retrieved, movement parameters must be specialized in an effort to scale the program output to meet the specific demands of hand. So this is my answer for my activity, which is the video discussion. So thank you so much and God bless.